we're talking about a tropical storm situation still pushing its way into North Texas. You've seen how strong these winds can be, sustained, and the rain that's continuing to drive here even as Beryl makes its way into North Texas.
And this is the home of one of those latest identified victims, Lloyd Watson. This very spot in this Valley View neighborhood where so many of these deaths came, this is where his mobile home stood just 2 nights ago. And you can now see just a path of devastation stretching all the way back more than 150 feet. Just within the last 30 seconds, Arlington police just sent out notice about the latest at this situation at Bowie High School. This is in Arlington. It's been a tense scene for the last hour or so. Police just confirmed they are investigating a shooting that took place on campus, but outside of school buildings. In a meeting here with police leadership on the north side in Fort Worth, some in the community asked about the tools officers are using to take on shootings. In response, police say now more than ever, they're relying on technology to keep the community safe.
The Cowboys were perfect here at home this year, but they had to get it done on the road to clinch the division. They left no doubt, and after winning the NFC East, some fans are already hoping Dallas could go the distance. Here it comes. Wow. It looks almost like a golf cart, sort of. You can see there's no driver here in the front. The unit has a keypad on the side to access your order. And it just opened up like a locker. That easy. Wow.
Again with breaking news and new information about the moments leading up to this fiery plane crash at a Plano shopping center. That crash happened right off of West Park Boulevard just before 6 o'clock this evening.
We know the pilot has died, and tonight our crews are at the scene talking with investigators and witnesses. Keenan Willard leads our coverage. Keenan, what can you tell us?
Brian, at this time, nothing about what exactly caused this crash. That is all subject to investigation. Still here on the ground at this active scene in this shopping center, the FAA, NTSB, those investigators poring over the remains of this wreckage right in front of a nail salon here in this Plano parking lot where there were people parking, milling around, and somehow no one was hit by this plane crash. We have learned, though, NBC5 hearing from witnesses who reviewed materials connected to this flight, that the pilot, in the minutes and moments before the crash, appeared to become disoriented.
A child swept away from his parents in flash flood waters. 4-year-old Lucas Warren's family was driving on County Road 528 when their car became trapped by severe flooding. NBC5's Keenan Willard spoke with his mother, who says she's still trying to process this unthinkable loss.
Chelsea Warren is struggling to understand how life will go on without Lucas. The 4-year-old boy was her only child, a miracle baby who spent weeks in the NICU after he was born.
He's such a bright, sweet, amazing boy.
Last night, Chelsea, her husband, and Lucas visited family at a home in Johnson County, setting out for home early this morning along this stretch of County Road 528. It had been raining hard, and the family says this area is prone to flooding.
Usually there's a block in the road that says don't pass through there, or has a sign that says flooding water, please turn around, and there was nothing. I saw somebody else had gone through.
The family tried to drive through water on the road, but it was surging too powerfully, and their car became trapped by the floodwaters.
My car battery died, and then the car started filling up with water, so we grabbed Lucas out of his car seat.
The family tried to escape the flooding on foot, but were swept off the road. Chelsea's husband was separated from them, and for more than an hour, she treaded water while holding on to Lucas, trying to keep his head above the current.
And a current came up real high, and he just let go, and I didn't hear anything from him. I think he just went under.
Johnson County rescuers arrived in a boat minutes later, taking Chelsea to the hospital. They searched for Lucas Warren for the next 2 hours.
Then the sheriff showed up here and told me they found him, and that he looked really peaceful, and that all of his clothes weren't ripped. He looks like he just went to sleep and went under.
Lucas drowned in the floodwaters 3 weeks before he was set to turn 5 years old. His mother says her family is still in shock, and she'll never be the same.
He's my everything. I can't sleep without him. I do everything with him.
The incident took nearly everything. Chelsea and her husband also lost their car, their phones, and their wallets in the floodwaters. Just hours after being launched, a GoFundMe for the family has already raised more than $17,000. The family says they'll have to lean on their support system to make it through the months of grieving to come.
Nothing's ever going to bring Lucas back. Nothing's ever going to fill that hole, but if I can have some time to process and not worry about how we're going to keep our house, I know we'll be okay at some point. It's just going to take a long time.
Keenan Willard, NBC5.
And Brittany, you can see all of it, the residual effect from this wreck. Starting here, you can see the chunk taken out of the median here by the impact. The ground here still littered with car parts and debris. And then over here where the car came to rest, scorch marks still on this concrete wall. All of this showing how disastrous this wreck was and how different the end could have been if it wasn't for the heroic action of this officer.
Hey, I got the window open. Help me get him out.
A scene fueled by adrenaline. A police officer in the colony guides a driver out of his car window while the front of the vehicle burns. Minutes earlier, Jersey Goldman was driving home on this overpass.
I look, and it is literally a vehicle dropped in between the concrete barriers on each side.
Goldman was the first person to the wreck and didn't see anyone moving inside.
I immediately call 911. And as I'm on the phone with the county police department, a flame sparks under the front side of the vehicle.
Within minutes, firefighters and police officers arrive, including the colony officer Eduardo Hernandez.
And I could see that the car's starting to fire up, so I grabbed my fire extinguisher.
Hernandez and others use up their extinguishers, but the electric car won't stop burning.
I make the decision that at this point, this car is on fire. I'm going to go back there and I'm going to try to get this driver out.
Hernandez decided to go to his unit for this, a Halligan tool that works like a heavy pickaxe.
In my mind, I'm just thinking to myself, I'm not going to let this guy die on me.
Hernandez's body cam video shows what happens next.
I'm checking your window.
The officer swings the tool 3 times, smashing the window and pulling it down. He then cuts the airbag, revealing the disoriented driver who repeatedly says, "I'm okay."
And at that point, I'm like, hey, come on, we got to get out. Your car's on fire. He starts to put his hands out the window. I grab onto him, and I just start to guide him out of the vehicle.
Get out, get out, get out.
Hernandez pulls the driver from the window, and other officers help him move the man away from the wreck. Within minutes, flames consume the car.
And if those officers hadn't got there, particularly Officer Hernandez, man, the results could have been insanely different than what they were.
I got the driver out.
Witnesses call Officer Hernandez a hero. He says his training and his faith helped him through.
Through that, I was able to help this person save his life and be able to see another day. So for me, that just makes me feel that I've made a difference, and definitely in someone's life.
I mean, first the video and then his words describing the scene, so powerful in the aftermath of this wreck, and a good resolution here. The officer says at the hospital he later learned that the driver was awake, alert, and recovering.